Now, my next guest hails from North County Dublin, where he grew up on the family farm. He studied at Warrenstown College before fate dealt him a cruel blow and he had to give up farming entirely. Undeterred, he changed direction in his life, setting up his own business, which he grew and eventually sold on. During a time of emotional upheaval in his life, he had a eureka moment when he decided writing was his destiny, and tomorrow night the first fruits of his labour can be perused when he launches his first book. It's called Laura's Legacy. Tony Whelan, you're very welcome to the Late Lunch. Tony Whelan's first book, Laura's Legacy, launches tomorrow evening. Tony, the eureka moment, you're sitting in traffic and you say, oh, I'm going to write. Mm-hmm. Now, what happened from there? You said you've read extensively and enjoyed it, but to actually sit down and start writing a book, how did you go about it?
Well, to be honest, it's a little bit of a mystery to me. I went home, started writing that evening. Over the space of a week or two, wrote pretty much the outline of the first book in the trilogy. And then it was over the following kind of, couple of years, really, that I actually wrote the full novel. Took a career break at one stage, went to Australia for a couple of months, did a lot of the writing there, and then over the last couple of years then, edited it, refined it, got it ready to the point where we're going tomorrow evening.
Was it from the head, from the heart, from experience? Where?
I would definitely say from the heart, because it wasn't kind of a logically thought out kind of process. As I said, I literally started writing the outline. Occasionally would have to kind of stop and go, what happens next? And then it would just come. When I started writing the outline, I said, this is how the book starts. At that point, I had no idea of what really happened during it or at the end of it. But as I worked through it over that first couple of weeks, that whole kind of start to finish just overview of the story all just came together. I wish I could tell you, Gerry, where it came from. I don't know.
But the draft was the thing, the outline draft was the thing, that was the structure you worked to then.
Exactly.
And then you built in around that. Obviously then, listening to you, Tony, you put it down, picked it up, left it, went away. Yep. Was it always with you in your mind, even when you were taking a sabbatical from the actual writing?
Yes. Oh, yeah. You'd be kind of conscious of it all the time, or there might be parts of the story that, you'd be at a particular point and you'd be wondering, now, I wonder what exactly is going to happen here. And it was very interesting. While I was in Australia during my career break and I was writing the bulk of the actual story itself, I read an interview with a guy called Ray Bradbury, a science fiction writer from decades ago. And he maintained that his characters told him the story, that he didn't write the stories at all. It's just and I read this and I thought this was a bit crazy and a little bit weird, but the next morning when I sat down to write, I decided I won't think about it as much, and it's literally true. The characters just started filling in all the gaps, and the whole thing just came together. It's a really strange experience.
We've read the book, and it's a cracking read. It's an international tale, taking in several continents as well, and there's a real twist in it. I don't really want to give it away, but there is a real twist in the story itself, and it sets it up for the finale. And of course, it's not the finale because the story is only parked at the end of this one and will continue on.
Yes.
How long in total did it take you to finish this first one, Laura's Legacy?
I would say the actual writing of it took about 2 years. Which again was partly because obviously you're working full time, you're doing different things, and then the editing of it, which I suppose from my point of view was the harder part, because when I was editing it I was going, I already know this story, but yet I had to read through it again and again, picking up all the little kind of mistakes or typing errors or grammar and all that kind of stuff. So as I said, the bulk of it, the outline initially, couple of weeks start to finish. The bulk of the writing of the novel, a few months in Australia, but really end to end you're talking years.
Publishers, who did you give it to? Who did you show it to? Who looked at it for you? Who read it? Who said, yes, Tony, go with this?
Well, I got all the advice from people I knew who've written books and all the rest of it. The advice generally is publishers, as a rule, won't look at unsolicited work, so you need to send it to an agent and they'll go to the publisher. So, got details of various agents, sent it off to them. Some of them wrote me back very nice letters saying what a good book it was, but it just didn't quite fit their kind of, genre, or they had enough already at the moment. So that didn't really go anywhere very much. So at the end, I decided, particularly this spring, with the news we got in Halifax, that if I'm ever going to do this, I'm going to do it myself. So I've gotten fantastic support from a company here in Drogheda, Choice Publishing, and they've handled kind of the printing and the registering of copyright and all that for me. So this is very much an independently produced, and I'm interested in seeing one of the national papers today has articles about, is the day of mainstream publishing gone? So we'll have a look and see how that's looking at.
So you're groundbreaking with this, and you're appreciative that a company here in the region have taken it up for you. You mentioned there Halifax. Another phase of your life is about to come to an end. They're winding up here in Ireland. You've been there for 5 years with them as well. So from here on, you've just the first one with them. Have you anything done on parts 2 and 3 of this?
Yes, the second book is Amy's Amazon. That has started. So I'll have a little bit of time in my hands now after next month when we finish up in Halifax, so I'll be concentrating then on the writing. Are you going
to really apply yourself? Are you going to give it now 100% of your time after that?
Totally, yeah, absolutely. This is what I finish up at Halifax next month, and this is what I'm doing then for the next few months.
And have you the outlines done of the other 2 books that are to come as well?
There's pretty much the outline of Amy's Amazon is done. It just remains now to write the actual story itself. The third and final installment in the trilogy is Robbie's Revolution, and I have an idea where that starts, but I'm not too sure where it's going to end up. I'm very interested in finding out where that goes.
It's still between the 4 walls of the mind, as they say at this point in time. Now, besides this new career you've headed off on now, you're going to launch the book tomorrow, and you want to help a colleague in Halifax.
That's right. We want to recognise the work that's been done. One of our colleagues in Halifax had a very tragic incident during the year, and our hearts really are with the family so much. They had their first baby, obviously a hugely happy and fantastic time for a couple. Unfortunately, baby Kayla was diagnosed with leukemia at only 3 weeks of age. And the staff in Our Lady's Hospital for Sick Children in Crumlin did so much work and gave such support to the family, and I know Kayla's parents are so appreciative of that. Very sadly and tragically, Kayla passed away at only 8 months of age. So tomorrow night at the launch, we'll be donating some of the proceeds from the sale of every book to Our Ladies for Sick Children in Crumlin, to recognise the work that they've done and that they continue to do, and how literally invaluable that is. Very nice.
Nice touch, I have to say. So anybody... Now, the launch tomorrow is where?
So the launch tomorrow is in the Crown Plaza Hotel in Dundalk at 8 p.m.
And open to everyone to come along?
Open to everyone. The more people that are there, the happier I'll be. Absolutely.
And they're going to get reading round the North East and beyond, because you've launches coming all over the place, just not here as well. You're down the country and that as well. So it's the start of another exciting time for Tony Whelan.
Start of a new adventure, Gerry, absolutely.
Do you get butterflies in the stomach? Are you worried? You know what I mean? When you set off on this path, will they buy it? Will they read it? Will it be good?
Oh, of course, absolutely. It's a mixture of just the excitement of doing something new. If this works, it would be an absolute dream for me to be able to write full time, for that to be my career. There's also the nervousness around, will anyone kind of turn up at launches? Will people buy the book? I'm delighted to hear you say you've read it and that you enjoyed it so much. And I'm starting just now to get that feedback from the people who read the first readers of the book. Feedback so far, thankfully, has been very, very positive. So I'm a little bit nervous, but hugely excited as well.
He's the new kid on the block. Tony Whelan. Laura's Legacy is the name of the book. Crown Plaza tomorrow night. It all begins. And remember, down the road, you heard it first on the Late Lunch Show. Tony Whelan, thanks a million for joining me today.
Thank you, Gerry.
Now, my next guest hails from North County Dublin, where he grew up on the family farm. He studied at Warrenstown College before fate dealt him a cruel blow and he had to give up farming entirely. Undeterred, he changed direction in his life, setting up his own business, which he grew and eventually sold on. During a time of emotional upheaval in his life, he had a eureka moment when he decided writing was his destiny, and tomorrow night the first fruits of his labour can be perused when he launches his first book. It's called Laura's Legacy. Tony Whelan, you're very welcome to the Late Lunch.